Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto Manga chapter review. This one is going to be for chapter 25, which is called Resonance. And yeah, I thought another solid chapter. I don't think this one blew me away. And part of that is just that I feel with this manga in general, the release format of obviously the monthly chapters or month and a half at times release chapters, it's sort of hard to really invest in them and kind of judge them, I think, fairly, because I'm so used to kind of weekly mangas, in that most of the time the chapters here never feel like they are the equivalent of like 4 to 5, maybe even 6 normal manga chapters from a weekly manga. It never feels like that, and because of that, it always feels like the chapters feel a bit like not enough happens in them, and you can really just blow through probably about 20 of the pages of this week's chapter without really needing to look into it all that much. And while it is a fairly eventful chapter this week, because we get the Garo versus Kawaki fight, we see a little bit of how the two karma kind of marks interact, and set that up, and just, I think the ultimate problem is that the fight has gotten out of the way very quickly, but I think it was obvious that this was never meant to be a particularly important fight. And then some of the detail reveals just felt like, okay, we'll give you more on this in the future. So it felt a bit more like a setup chapter this time out, rather than being anything particularly amazing with the reveals. And what I mean by that is just stuff like Kawaki is this ninja tool, basically, almost the way they're describing him. That what did they say? His very existence is that of a ninja tool. That he has been enhanced, upgraded in an inorganic way, and it's like on par the level of like skill of this to, say, Naruto's kind of new arm, basically, that he has, but from an inorganic sense. And this sort of fits into the theme that they've been going for, and the idea of these ninja tools and them being important for some people, and how you like integrate them into yourself, as with whatever his name is, him. And what they're trying to get at, I think, with most of these members of Kara, I think where they're going is that this is going to lean more in the direction of ninja skills enhanced by, science, mechanical kind of inorganic nature stuff, whereas most of the enemies in original Naruto, their powers were more rooted in like organic kind of power-ups, where like they'd use the first Hokage's cells or something like that to power up and stuff like that. It was all about stuff being grown in a lab, but it all being kind of organic. And this is more about the inorganic stuff, and the previous fight with Aoi was made that very clear, of just using these kind of ninja weapons. But the thing is that Kawaki, just looking at him, he doesn't appear that like he's enhanced with anything that's like inorganic. So what exactly is that? Because when they're presenting him as having an ability that, by all accounts, looks like Yugo's ability, which has always been established to be this very organic focused thing, plus the karma mark, which also seems to be somewhat organic based on the nature of like how Boruto got his. It doesn't feel like that is the case, so it's one of those things that needs more explanation about, like, okay, that's a cool explanation, but visually, like, I cannot see what you are actually trying to tell me about Kawaki, because he just looks like a human. He doesn't have any, like, mechanical parts. Are they going to say that, like, he's got something inside him that is causing this? Because the very nature of just them saying inorganic, and them sort of pointing at the fact that, like, he basically like overheated in a way, is kind of the way they touched on what happened to him. What are they talking about here? Is he a robot? Like, I get it's not quite that level, that like just saying inorganic doesn't automatically mean mechanical, but it's kind of hard to really get what they're saying without that. So it's a bit of a weird one, and I hope they explain it some more. As for the karma marks resonating together, that was interesting. Just Kawaki gets himself into a little bit of trouble in the fight. then the mark begins to activate. It activates Boruto's one, and it seems like they both sort of like power each other up. And he uses this to defeat Garo very easily and aggressively, basically like blowing him in half, which was impressive. But Kawaki used so much energy that Boruto actually had to block the energy coming at them. And this kind of came after like Konohamaru was kind of like, this is now an S rank mission. The focus is now protecting everyone because the focus is just like, this is so out of our league. We just have to survive. That's the only aspect of this mission that's really left. And then after that, Kawaki collapses after like overheating basically, and the idea is that they're going to take him back to the village. They have information from the kind of coffin that he was initially in, and they're going to take him back to Naruto. And that's the big kind of cliffhanger ending of like, what is Naruto's reaction to Kawaki going to be, and what's Kawaki going to say to Naruto? Given that, again, we have to always frame all of this that's happening in relation to what was the start of the Boruto manga, and that being an older Boruto and an older Kawaki fighting in a basically ruined Konoha Leaf Village, with the idea that Naruto is potentially gone, killed in some way. So it seems like we're nowhere near that just yet, because Boruto's still young. There still feels like there's a year or two to get there. But what is the nature of like Kawaki's relationship with Naruto? Because Kawaki's still like not really trusting them, even though they're trying to help him in a way. He's still like, you're working for them. What did he tell you about this? You're feigning ignorance about the karma mark and stuff like that. So once they get back to the village, and I suppose he'll have to accept the fact that they actually don't know what's being talked about. They don't know much about Kara. Does he join the team? Does he sort of reluctantly become this, younger character who's sort of in the same league as like a Shikadai, Boruto, and so on, and he has to be incorporated into these missions going forward, and so on, because they're going to have to develop Boruto and Kawaki's relationship as we go on. So is he just part of this on the outside? Is he going to become our kind of Sasuke-esque figure of the series in a way, or what? So it definitely like sparks a moment of like, okay, the villains are letting the Leaf Village basically take their vessel away, because Kajin Koji is basically like, what just happened there, the two karma marks interacting, is interesting. And I think the idea is that he's going to let them take, Kawaki with them. And he's going to study Boruto and Kawaki and their interactions, and basically follow them, and really study, I suppose, what two karma marks do in relation to each other. To, I suppose, understand the mechanics of what exactly is going on there. To a degree, Kara seemed to know what one karma mark kind of does, is capable of, but what does two, and the fact that they kind of can link together now, how does that actually work? So they're more interested in this of just like, okay, look, we get he's important to us, like our leader wants Kawaki, that's why he's interested in him. But what's even more interesting is us to learn information about how two karma marks work together, and this is an obvious way to do it. We can easily, I suppose from their perspective, easily go in and get him back if we need him, but what an opportunity this is if they're going to take him to see what the interaction is like. So again, a lot of just setup for in the future we will potentially know what this karma mark means as such, the technical details of it, what exactly is going on with Kawaki. I did like, though, that they used the Mitsuki revealing, I suppose, the nature of his being to his teammates here as the sort of basis for explaining Kawaki. That Mitsuki shocks Boruto and Sarada by revealing that, oh yeah, I'm a synthetic human being. I was cloned from a being that was made by Orochimaru, but made organically, so I'm actually still a living being, even if there's some weirdness around that. And just everyone else sort of knowing it except Boruto and Sarada, so them being kind of freaked out by that. But I suppose that reveal sort of then explains Mitsuki's weirdness around like, oh yeah, my parent is Orochimaru, and that's it. And that like, oh, okay, like he made you, so that makes him your father, kind of. So I'd like more on that, because like I suppose there was a little bit, I think, with the last chapter of like Konohamaru overhearing the idea that like Orochimaru was mentioned and stuff like that. Will that come up? I'm not particularly sure. He already knows. I get the idea. So there's that, and then that leading into the idea of like Kawaki's different. He's not synthetic or enhanced in the organic way that Orochimaru would do. Something inorganic here, amazingly scientific, so much so that I can't even do it, is Kadosuke's kind of view on it. So they're going to bring him back to the village, hope that they're able to heal him, get him back to full health, and hopefully he will open up a bit. Because I think the one frustrating thing about Kawaki so far has been that he's been so like rude as a character that he feels like he's going to be that type of character who just for no reason refuses to speak to anyone about anything, and he's just going to be tight-lipped just for the sake of being tight-lipped. So I hope that sort of breaks and we actually get to see him talk. We get a bit more in his character outside of him just kind of being this kind of angry, rude character that he is right now. So I'm excited for next month's chapter. But yeah, it's coming on like the 20th, so like it's pretty much a month and a half until the next chapter, which again is sort of part of the problem in that this felt like 2, maybe 3 chapters worth of content relating to like a weekly manga. It definitely didn't feel like 4 or 5, and that's always been the problem with this. Of like, if at all possible, I think this would go so much better if it was weekly. If we were getting quicker updates on what's going on here. It seems like they're not even attempting to try and move it to that way, but I think most people would agree that the monthly chapters are not ideal. They're not helping the series as such, and it would be better being weekly. But if this is the way the creators can make it happen and the weekly schedule just doesn't work for them, then it's fine being what it is, but it's always going to be a relative weakness that this manga has, of just it feeling a little slower pace because there's so much time between chapters. But yeah, that's my thoughts on chapter 25, Resonance. Some good stuff here, some setup. It seems like the villains are kind of going to go and like just they're going to monitor things for a while, but they're not going to be like directly attacking for a while. So hopefully this leaves time for explanation to happen, the explanation that is needed, and we can really progress, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's my thoughts. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on the chapter, but that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.